And a fantastic article in National Geographic points out that Brer Rabbit, the song Kumbaya, and one pot meals are all derived from the rich Gullah culture that has graced the South for centuries, but it's threatened to die without the stewards of today helping to keep it alive. One such person is Tamika Gadsden of the Charleston Activist Network with a special book club event. First of all, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for carrying the torch of such a rich culture that we have here that I know a lot of us consider it beloved.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to share what I'm doing currently.
So I don't think a lot of people realize that the Gullah culture has so much influence over our life in the Low Country. Can you point out some of the other things that people should open their eyes to when looking around their southern environments?
Well, absolutely. I think the first thing to recognize, most folks need to recognize, is that the Gullah experience, Gullah culture, is not a monolith. I myself am the daughter of Jim Crow refugees, and while my dad is a native of Wadmalaw Island, the Charleston Low Country area, he was part of the Great Migration, and so I'm the well, quite literally, my experience, my journey back to Gullah, back to my roots. I am a Gullah Geechee descendant by virtue of the fact that I wasn't raised in Charleston, but having spent so much of my younger years and even now going on 8 years of relocation and being part of that reverse migration, I'm able to interact with my culture from a different vantage point that we don't typically talk about every day. I'm what you call a come ya, been ya hybrid. So yeah, I'm excited to talk more about that.
Yeah, and I think people don't realize that history is not that far behind us. And like you being a direct descendant, now you're organizing the special book club. Why through books? Why is that important for people to connect?
Well, to be really honest with you, I'm an area activist and organizer, and I also work in nonprofit philanthropy. So folks reach out to me for various reasons. And one question that continued to arise following the uprisings in May, the uprisings that we saw across the country, but also here in the Low Country, one thing that was persistent was the question of, well, what should I read to help improve my political education? And I always caution folks that reading a book does not solve any of the structural ills that are plaguing our community. And it doesn't get you closer to Gullah, to understanding Gullah culture. But what I offer is an opportunity for us to build community where we center Black voices, Black Southern voices, and more importantly here, as you alluded to, a culture that has been long, I guess sometimes forgotten in the mainstream. It's never been forgotten in Black enclaves and Black communities, but to help folks become reacquainted with Gullah culture and center that experience. So you learn about history, Charleston's history and the country's history from the Gullah experience, from a Black person's experience.
And I think the beauty of books, libraries of books, is that it doesn't force you, it forces you to cast a wider net, that you're not just with the blinders on and laser focused on one thing, that it really does open your eyes to many different perspectives, many different stories that all blend in, and then you can be the decider. You can come up with your own realization, as it were. So with the book club that you've now tied to the organization, to your organization, how many members do you have, and what are you hoping that you can gather people around and to start this conversation?
Absolutely. Well, when I launched the book club back in around early August, we started off with a bang, and we received 800 responses. And so I'm proud to say that we boast a membership of over 800 folks, not just here in Charleston, not just based here in Charleston, but throughout the world. And we meet monthly, virtually, of course, because of the reality that COVID has given us right now. So we meet safely, but we're able to build a community virtually. And so I provide 2 private live stream opportunities. So either they can receive a private link to our YouTube stream or in our private Facebook group. And it's been great. It's accessible. We also have sign language interpreters, and the YouTube option also provides closed caption to help. Again, we want to break down any barriers to engaging with us. And even if you haven't read the selections, we want to invite folks into the conversation, the greater conversation, especially this month, because we are centering Gullah Geechee experiences prominently this month.
Yes, and if you could, just with about 30 seconds left, can you tell us who your featured guests are?
Absolutely. I'm so proud to announce that we have Eden Royce. She's over in the UK, but she's a Charleston native, a member of the Gullah Geechee Nation, and she will be joining us live from across the pond, along with local social media sensation Akua Page from Geechee Experience. She's amazing. She's a Gullah Geechee culturist and a great ambassador for Gullah Geechee culture. So I'm excited to have both Akua and Eden join us for our book club.
That's wonderful. It's called Spook Lights. It's on Thursday, October 29th at 6:30 to 8 o'clock. It's online, $5. Wonderful experience. I think that sounds fascinating. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for the time.
We're back in 2 minutes.